Hi, Room 5. Team Babbitt. Mrs. McGrath here. I've been missing you since we've all been gone, and I've been thinking a lot about you. And I wanted to say hello and maybe read you a little story that I found. I was so happy to find this book at my house. It has it's not just one story, it's a whole bunch of different stories. You might not recognize some of those pages going by if some of these are your favorites, but I thought I'd read one to you today. How are you doing, Anna? Good to see you. And Andrew, how have you been? Brooklyn and Isak, how have you guys been? I can't even believe it. Drew and Tegan, it's been so long. Dawson and Juliet, and Sam and Declan. I can't wait to see you guys again. And Grady and Molly. And hi, Lydia and Nathan. I was glad to see your picture, Nathan. Keep yourself active. And Ming, thank you for the little video of you. And Travis, how have you been? And Lucia, I was so glad to hear what you've been doing to keep active too. If you haven't been in touch with me yet, please feel free to reach out. Your parents can help you. Email me. You can write me a note, and maybe they can take a picture of it and send it to me, just so we can stay connected. Anyway, here's our story today. This was one of my favorites reading to my children. They're all grown up now. My youngest one is actually 19 years old. So I really enjoyed reading this to them when they were about your age. And the funny thing about this book is that it's because it's a whole bunch of books in one book, they've kind of taken the pages and put them a little bit different. So this book is called Where the Wild Things Are, and it's by Maurice Sendak. And I bet some of these days in your homes you might be feeling like a little bit like Max some days, needing a little adventure in your imagination. So this is called Where the Wild Things Are. The night Max wore his wolf suit and made mischief of one kind and another, his mother called him Wild Thing, and Max said, "I'll eat you up." He was sent to bed without eating anything. I'll show you the pictures first. Here's Max, dressed up as the Wild Thing. He's acting a little crazy. Sends him to his room. Here we go. That very night in Max's room, a forest grew and grew and grew and grew until the ceiling hung with vines and the walls became the world all around. And an ocean tumbled by with a private boat for Max, and he sailed off through night and day and in and out of weeks and almost over a year to where the wild things are. And when he came to the place where the wild things are, they roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws, until Max said, "Be still," and tamed them with the magic trick of staring into all their yellow eyes without blinking once. And they were frightened and called him the most wild thing of all. And made him king of all wild things. "And now," cried Max, "let the wild rumpus start." Look at them, howling at the moon and having a parade. These are the pictures that my kids love the most. That is a wild rumpus, I'd say. "Now stop," Max said, and sent the wild things off to bed without their supper. And Max, the king of all wild things, was lonely and wanted to be where someone loved him best of all. But the wild things cried, "Oh, please don't go. We'll eat you up. We love you so." And Max said, "No." Then all around from far away across the world, he smelled good things to eat. So he gave up being king of where the wild things are. And the wild things roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. But Max stepped into his private boat and waved goodbye. And sailed back over a year, and in and out of weeks, and through a day, and into the night of his very own room, where he found his supper waiting for him, and it was still hot. I love when my imagination takes me someplace else. Sometimes when we're stuck around and we get a little bored, it's nice to have a good imagination. You can always rely on it. Maybe that's your superpower. Remember that from Ooch, having that superpower. Anyway, thank you for letting me share that with you guys. I enjoyed that, and I hope you all well. And I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what you're doing to keep yourselves busy during this time. And I hope to see you all again real soon.